What is correct, and everyone? This is Renelzy coming back at you with another Persona 5X video, and in today's video we're actually going to be taking a peek at who is the best in each role. I'm not going to be including the future characters because honestly I don't know some of their kits yet, but it's like they're quite a ways out. I don't really need to know what they do yet. It's going to be like 6 or more months to even see them announced on the global server, so there's not really a reason for me to know all of them yet. So for that purpose, we are going to be sticking to what we have right here. But before we get into that, please do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow the channel. And without further ado, let us get right into it. So I'm not going to include 4 stars in here because, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Sweeper, Closer's the only one. I mean, all of them are not the best, honestly. Heya has the best applications of all these 3 though. Shatters is Leon, not even close. Debuffer's probably gonna go for Vino. Guardian, I think we gotta give it to Soy. Then, you know, there's your healer. Wynn's the best navigator, and then that's it. So, not really much reason to talk about them in the 4-star, but in terms of 5 stars, yes. We'll start with the DPS role, so we'll go for Sweeper. So I'm going to be thinking about these with like equal investment levels, so I guess for our cases we'll be going for A0 as a look. So this is the one difference though. An is a standard character. You're going to be getting copies of her just by playing the game. So she's not really going to be A0. I'm not going to include that in our thought process though. But technically she's going to be having the most investment out of anyone here because you can either select it by spending money or just freaking getting her out of the 50-50 pool. Or if you get her out of the 110 pool and then you just happen to get her as your character for that. So she's going to be the most invested out of anyone here. Generally speaking. Everyone else you have to see pulls for. But like I said, we're going to be thinking about A0 for everyone here. And I'm between Joker and Haru for the best. I know my Joker's, you know, maxed out A6. And I'm not going to lie, I don't have Closer, but I remember not being impressed with her damage numbers comparing them to other A0 characters. So I'm hesitant to give Closer the top spot. It's most definitely Haru or Joker though. Joker has some unique stuff going on by the fact that he can get a second turn. So him being able to do that can mean a lot. Haru on the other hand just has so much going for her kit that she really does just deal a lot of damage in general. So it's between those two. If you pick either or, I don't think you're really quote unquote wrong per se. I feel like it's fairly close though at A0. I'm gonna give it to Haru, I think, slightly, but I do love me my Joker, but he does want a little bit of investment, just in general. Being able to, I believe it's an A2 where once you get your extra turn, it just makes your SP negligible on your extra turn. It goes from like 4 to 5 SP per skill. That's really good, but that's A2, it's not A0. Not considering that, I'm gonna give it to Haru though. But like I said, either or, not bad. After that, I'm gonna have to give it to Closer, because she is pretty strong, but I feel like she's not quite on the power level of Haru and Joker here. Like I said, I don't actually own her on the account, but based off of the stuff I've seen from other people playing her at A0, I can't say I'm mega as impressed as Haru and Joker gameplay. And then Yusuke, I mean, he's more of a launch character. He's not exactly a launch character, but he's pretty close to it. I believe he was he actually the first Persona 5 collab character that wasn't Joker? He was, yeah. So that doesn't leave him in the best spot ever. Something to think about. Also, it says he's a sweeper, but he kind of as a counterattack character. I love counterattack characters in games, but honestly, Yusuke's damage is not quite as good as it used to be. On after that, actually, I think I would actually put her dead last, but like, now I'm thinking about it. I think I'm actually, no, because a lot of what makes On strong is the fact that you just have so many awarenesses for her in general. So yeah, I will put On in last for this. But generally speaking, I think On's going to be one of your top 3 options in reality, because I feel like most of us are just going to have a few copies for her. So like, that kind of means something. I feel like most people in this game are just going to have A0, R0, so the character and their weapon. Or their 5-star weapon at least. On's case, you can get her 5-star weapon for free just by playing the game. You can get a Cognitite for free just by playing the game. For with like the Lufel business plans, that's what I'm talking about. So you're really, your On's gonna be stronger than most characters here, because you're gonna be able to run her. I mean, honestly, if you have her at A0, I feel like, or not A0, A2, she does end up comparing to some of these characters at A0, R0. But again, that's an extra 2 copies that you don't have in this case. So I feel like that kind of hurts her a little bit. I could be completely wrong, but she's also the only non-limited character on this entire sweeper roster right here, so. That said, it's not like it really matters who you say is the best here, because you can find use cases for everyone here in this game. As long as it's an AoE fight and then they have type advantage, they're gonna be doing you pretty well, honestly. Anywho, now for single target. Right now, I'm giving the top spot to Makoto, because Makoto, when she came out, was very strong. There wasn't really that much competition in the role as well. Same thing with Ryuji. You're gonna have awarenesses with him, generally speaking, so he might actually end up being a little better than your Makoto. However, Makoto in general is stronger than Ryuji, I feel like. I have to say that. So I think I'm giving it to Makoto first. After that, Mon doesn't have her best teammates yet, so I don't know if I could put her second. Ryuji's better than Mesa, generally speaking, equal investment, so that's another. I can't, honestly, I gotta put that man like in the lower end. Which makes me kind of want to put Ryuji in second. But I don't know if I can do that. If you happen to have Mon's best team, yeah, I think she could go second, right after Makoto. If you don't, then I think Ryuji takes it. Even at A0, which is kind of crazy. Ryuji is quite strong if you give him what he needs, and he doesn't really need that much. Especially you're going to be considering most of this with awareness copies, and once you get him to A2, he's going to be that much stronger. Yeah, so I'm thinking Makoto, then Ryuji, then Mont. After that, honestly, at A0, I gotta give it to Yui, and then Mesa. I feel like Mesa's the worst here. I could be wrong, but Mesa is just... his problem, he can't be able to flip between the modes that he wants to be able to flip between at A0 because of the way that they built him out. You need him at higher investment copies, and this is A0 we're talking about, so that kind of hurts him a lot. So, yeah. I'm gonna give it to Makoto, then Ryuji, then Mont Roskill, and then I'm gonna give it to Yui, and then Mesa, sadly. Because, like I said, Mesa pretty much, if you want him to stand swap like you want him to, you kind of have to play him a certain way at A0 or A1. So, as it says right here, from A0 to A1, he focuses on building and maintaining bleed stacks as a bleed type, so he becomes... He's not necessarily a single target unit, he's kind of wanting to be a dot unit. which kind of hurts him because ultimately what he wants to do, to my knowledge, is he freaking wants to build up the bleeds and then redeem them to get a high amount of damage and then rinse and repeat, but he can't do that as well at A0. And that hurts him quite a bit. So that's unfortunate, but we have to consider that. Okay, next we have Strategist. I don't know if I need to tell you guys, but Cord gives a free highlight. And it's not on that big of a cooldown. It gets longer at the more you use the free highlight. But Riddle doesn't have that. I think that just kind of goes to show who's the better one here, right? Right? So it's like Cord, maybe like 3 tiers, and then like Riddle down there. Pretty easy. Not honestly, like there's not really much to talk about for between these two. It's just Cord is far and away better. It's not even close. Riddle's also a 50-50 lost character, but she's not Cord. Even with copies, Cord's still better. Cord's just that much of a freaking powerhouse. So for the debuffer, we got Rin. And we got Rin. I think Rin takes this. Y'all let me know. I think I'm taking Rin in the debuff slot right here. I think I am. It's not even comparable, to be honest. So, generally speaking, right? You're going to take Rin into AoE fights, and then you're taking Vino into single target fights. That said, I'd kind of just say it this way. Rin is an AoE debuffer. You're going to bring her with all of your sweeper characters generally. Optimally, you have different teams than that, but like if you're just trying to make her work, you're going to want to use her with sweeper characters. And then Vino is pretty much exclusive to being helpful with Makoto, so if you don't have Makoto, there's not much of a reason for you to build Vino, I fear. But Rin's just a better character. For Guardian, I think I'm taking Cherish here, guys. I don't know, man. I think Cherish takes this. It's a hard choice, but I think Cherish takes this one. Yeah. It's not even close. It's Cherish and then these two. Alrighty, so now we talk about the healer slot. So there's 2 ways to think about this. Do you want element accuracy stuff with a few buffs? Or do you want, I don't know if I want to say immortality, but like a way larger amount of healing with some blessings? Both are good. Both will do you right. For Seaside Tomoko and Marion. But Marion is more of a healer than Tomoko is. Tomoko's a little more set up, pop your thing, and then, you get the stacks for her and she pops her heal and you get like 3 to 5k back depending on. Marion, on the other hand, she's in the standard pool now. I know I said A0. But again, if you're playing the game and you're getting, I guess let's say if you're getting quote-unquote lucky with your standard pool characters that you get, Marion's going to be one of the ones that you're going to have a few copies for. Even if you only have the 1 copy, I feel like it's pretty clear that Marion wins in my opinion. In terms of being like a healer who just does her job and does it well, I'm giving it to Marion. Seaside Tomoko is going to do you right as well. But it's also the case where she specifically wants to be with Haru. And if you don't have Haru, she doesn't have as much reason to be pulled for. You can make her work again. There's a lot of situations where you can make her work, right? Her element accuracy stuff kind of helps out with the characters that want to debuff, which is a good chunk of characters, honestly. But I think Marion is just actually a better quote-unquote healer. Take that as you will. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I haven't built Mona yet, but I don't have a reason to build Mono. We kind of don't have a reason to build him. He's a launch character, he's a standard pool character, and the best way I can describe it is you have Atomic Bomb Marion versus Coughing Baby Mona. He's not really that useful anymore. Marion's just far and away better than him. It's not much of a competition. I could build the cat for our Frostgill mod, but I don't know if I really want to do that. Like I said, he's not as good as he was before. I pulled him like quite a bit after launch, honestly, so it was kind of, I already had Marion at this point, and we already had our other healer slots filled, so he's kind of just fallen on the wayside. In a pinch, he'll work for you, right? But I can't, with good faith, leave him anywhere besides slot 3, or in terms of our ranking here, so I'm gonna giving it to Marion and Tomoko, and then Mona. Between Marion and Tomoko, if you want to see the other one's better for whatever reason, I can understand it, but I think for more general, like, I don't really want to think that much. I just want to freaking use a healer. I think Marion wins out. Because Tomoko has a loop, and then Marion is kind of just spam skills till you hit 2 stacks of her healing buff, or healing status effect, and then you pop it, just get like 10,000 heal, and it's just like, it's chill, you know? Don't gotta think too much about it. And then, I mean, if you want to talk about the worst actual healer in the game, I'm giving it to Lufel. But it's like 5 stars versus 4 stars, not really much of a fair conversation. So, and for our best Velvet Room attendants, is it Justine and Caroline, or Caroline and Justine? Y'all let me know. It's kind of hard to rank them anywhere besides like amazing, because they do so much. They can be, so y'all see all of these, right? All these icons, right? Okay, not the navigator. They can't be the navigator, but of these 6 roles, they can be all of them. All of them. I will say, in order to play them optimally and have them play more like that role that you want them to play like, you do want their first awareness. Do keep that in mind. However, they can still serve the role. It just won't be like you're playing quote-unquote as that role until you get them to A1. We'll probably be getting them to A1 next time they rerun, because I don't know if we're going to be able to get enough jewels for them at this point. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal for me. I'm happy with where we have them for now, but I'm starting to understand why people are saying that they want you to get the first awareness for them, because it does just make them way more consistent. It makes it so you don't need to build them up as often, and it makes their loop process very, very, it saves you a turn basically, and instead of it being a 3-turn setup, it's a 2-turn setup. So it's like, it would usually be use a skill, use skill 3, use a skill, use skill 3, but once you get A1, it's use a skill, they auto use skill 3, use a skill, and then they auto use skill 3, so it's 2 turns instead of 3 turns. Best way I can describe that, but they can be any of these 6 roles in the top spot, or in the slots right here. And that is very important. You can slot them into every single possible team and they will find their way. If that's not good, I don't know what is. We'll see what happens with this role more as the game progresses. I imagine this is just going to be exclusively a Velvet Room attendant role. So maybe if we ever get playable middle page, she'll be in this role, or any of the Velvet Room attendants. So maybe like Marie, I could see that happening. I could see it happening for Lavenza, actually. Technically a different character. I can see it happening for Margaret, all the Velvet Room attendants. I can see it happening eventually. But for now, we don't know when that is. They're treated as a very special character, and it makes sense. They do so much, right? I'm curious about how I'm going to be doing their video in a little bit here, because they are very interesting. It's a little hard to talk about everything that they do. We'll figure it out. And then now for the navigators. I already talked about what I just said Wind was the best. So it's Wind, then Puppet, then Okyon. But for the 5 stars, it's like, it's not even close. I'm not gonna lie, it's Futaba #1. Futaba is the strongest navigator in this game right now, and it's really not close. Hebi will also be going into standard pool sometime soon. I believe it's in the next 2 to 3 months. I could be wrong on that. Maybe it's a little longer, but I feel like it's 2 to 3 months. She's been out for a little while now. But Futaba just does a lot of debuffing. She does a little bit of healing every now and then. She does shielding. There's a lot that she does, and she can inflict a weakness where there isn't one, or she can make an enemy that resisted weakness or that resisted that damage and make it not resist that damage. It's quite good. She's very good. Now, once we start talking about the spoiler characters, or the characters that are gonna be here in the future, okay, maybe Futaba falls off a little bit, but if Futaba falls off, I don't even want to know what Phoebe does, right? Because it's these three. These are the 3 best. But for global right now, it's Futaba and then Phoebe. And that was a little faster than I would have expected as a video, but like I said, I don't have full knowledge of every single spoiler character in the game right now, nor do I have I watched all of their gameplay stuff going on, so it's a little hard to talk about them. Regardless, if you guys enjoyed, and as per usual, do not forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe so we can grow the channel, and I will catch all of you in the next video. Laters.